In the 1960s, Don Yanko emerged as one of the SCCA's top road racers. But Yanko became famous for what he did away from the racetrack. He took regular Chevy production cars and turned them into bona fide racing machines, selling them at his Pennsylvania car dealership. Not many were made, and a relative few still survive, making Yankos some of the most sought-after collector cars in the world. Today, 4 partners and their team are taking on a huge challenge. Build a replica of a 1969 Yanko Camaro that uses today's technology but remains faithful to the original. It's a gamble that could breathe new life into a legend.
Welcome to the brand new muscle car shop in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm Dave Dobson. Now it's early in the project, but the Yanko Camaro is coming right along. We've seen how the guys used old school techniques to put the seam seal on the car. Now it's time to move on to the next step. It's time to mount the suspension.
Traditionally, 69 Camaro had leaf springs and old school shocks, which worked okay, but again, we want this car to drive new. So we've got brand new modern fully adjustable shocks, new coil springs. We've got upper and lower control arms for a 4-link rear suspension. This technology did not exist in the 60s, obviously. And then we've ordered a brand new rear end. The modern rear end that we normally use looks like this, but what we're gonna go with is a brand new rear end that has the traditional look. So it looks like a Chevy 12-bolt rear end, especially in the middle where the differential's at. Again, we wanna build a car that looks like a 1969 Camaro, but drives like a brand new muscle car.
That being said, the new 12-bolt rear end creates a few issues. Because it's a custom design, it's not made to fit like the original one that came with the chassis. That means Martin and Tony have to get to work on some mounting brackets to make the rear end fit correctly.
All right, so what's next?
The next one is to put about this part of the suspension, rear suspension, and I think that's it. I'm making grinder and welding this stuff right here.
No big deal for the brand new muscle car guys. They'll go to any lengths to make sure they're turning out a car that's true to the original, but drives like a new car.
A leaf spring is a 2-point, so there's a front and back connection on each side, left and right. A 4-link's got an upper and lower control arm like a new car, and they're just in completely different locations in the car. So we have to weld on brackets so we can mount all of that. The reproduction bodies we buy are true to the original, so they are designed for leaf springs. And if you want to add 4-link or independent rear, you're going to do some cutting and welding.
All right, for one, I'm gonna go get the mask.
It's too hot?
Hot. Beautiful.
Okay, now I'll start welding. You want to put in that one first, or you want to do that one?
No, better do it.
Yeah, do it right now.
Right now?
Yes.
Well, how much? Like the halfway part, right? Okay, I see it. It's between them 2 holes.
Yeah, just between the 2 holes.
Okay.
A little bit, yeah. Okay. It's not in your way, right?
No.
Look.
No.
To move this only told me, and then I can remove, and then you weld it and then you put it back in again.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, beautiful welds. I think everything is done. Seam seal, done. I think this thing is ready to go. Send it to paint. Let's do it.
When we come back, get up close and personal with the paint guys at Brand New Muscle Car,
Wonder Twin Powers, activate.
whether you want to or not.
Proformance Unlimited is one of the leaders in the muscle car industry, building engines that will suit the needs of nearly every car enthusiast. Our dedication to detail separates us from the rest, and our crate engines are hand-assembled one at a time, using the finest parts and are dyno tested to ensure durability and power output. Trials and errors and expensive mistakes are now a thing of the past. Proformance Unlimited, your crate engine experts, building your dream and ours one engine at a time.
Now the car begins its journey around the wall to the paint shop, where Dustin and Jared take over.
Well, you ready to sand this bad boy?
Yeah, now that Martin finally got it to us. All right, let's go for it.
Let's go for it.
When these bodies come in, they're straight metal, they've got really cheap primer on them, just as corrosion protection, but it's a terrible base layer for our painting. So we always sand them really good, clean them up, that way the seam seal will stick to them, the paint will stick to them, and we don't want the bottom to come off. Obviously the bottom paint is gonna put up a lot of abuse.
So what we're doing here is we got our Scotch-Brite pads. We like to use the red because they're a coarse grit. So what we do is we get a good scuff onto any area we're gonna paint. So we're gonna paint the bottom of the vehicle hot rod black, and then what we gotta do is we gotta get a good scratch on the surface. That way whenever we apply the paint, it sticks to it real good and have no problems later.
We could take a power tool to it, but we like to do it by hand. That way we know that we're getting into every nick and cranny, everywhere that it's done. Sometimes whenever you use a DA, you might miss some spots. Like if you're sitting in here and you take a DA and you're running a DA over it, you'll miss in here. You won't get it, it'll still be shiny. So if you're using a Scotch-Brite pad, you can get in there and really get in there and make sure that all that sticks.
Is this a normal step for every body shop? Is this a normal step for regular collision work or anything like that? Absolutely not. But these are special cars.
I don't want somebody to look at this car and go, who did that? Oh, Brand New Muscle Car did that. And then they're like, well, it's peeling here. It looks like junk there. No, that's not what we're about.
Martin's the sculptor, and he sculpts this beautiful piece of art, where me and Dustin, for lack of a better word, we're the painters. You know, we come in and we fine-tune the artwork, and we put our touch on the little stuff, you know, and that's what makes us the team that we are.
Well, anybody that knows anything about paint work knows that the details is in the prep work, not the paint work.
I went to work for a guy at a Mercedes and a Porsche dealership, old man from Germany, and man, he was a mean old guy. He used to throw wrenches at me if I didn't do something right. And his big thing was, any monkey can come in here and paint a car. It's prep work. It's all about the prep work. And I didn't get to paint anything for over a year.
The one thing about us as a group is we're constantly poking at each other. You know, we're always going to say it takes Martin entirely too long to do anything Martin does.
It is all
Now
you.
it's time for the real work to be done.
When it comes over here to the paint shop, oh, we definitely get razzed too.
We always tape this up. Always tape this up.
You never do that.
We tape it up every time. Every single time.
And it's just the banter back and forth, and that's, you know, that's the reason why I don't want to work with any other group of guys.
Now, if you can imagine that man with hair, I first met him, he had this frosted hair, and we was like, are you kidding me? What the? And so we called him Frosty one day, and he stuck with him.
I've been in this business 15 years, and some people still don't know who Jared is. Weirdest thing about working with Dustin is, have you ever been kissed by a grown man with a beard? You'll be eating lunch, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, there's a big fat set of lips on your cheek. There's no more disturbing feeling in the world.
So whenever they made the cars back in the 60s and 70s, they did it a lot differently than they do now. They would actually get overspray on either the engine compartment or in the door jambs or even on the underneath side of the cars. And a lot of the customers that we have, they wanted to look back exactly the way that the factory was. So what we'll do is we'll actually put the overspray back to where it was whenever it came off the assembly line.
Did you break another one?
No, it's good.
No, it's not.
Are you serious?
Stand still. There you go.
This is our dream job. This is what we've always wanted to do. And right now we're at the point in our careers that we can actually hire people to do the collision work and the other stuff and run that part of our business. And we can come back and actually do this part where we get to make people's dreams come true.
No, this is a factory piece.
Why is it missing on this one?
Because it's a new floor.
Missing a part for your car? We'll show you where to find it when we come back.
Proformance Unlimited is one of the leaders in the muscle car industry, building engines that will suit the needs of nearly every car enthusiast. Our dedication to detail separates us from the rest, and our crate engines are hand-assembled one at a time, using the finest parts and are dyno tested to ensure durability and power output. Trials and errors and expensive mistakes are now a thing of the past. Proformance Unlimited, your crate engine experts, building your dream and ours one engine at a time.
And documents shown on brand new muscle car Yenko Camaro, courtesy of Mark Gillespie. For even more about Don Yenko and the supercars that made his dealership famous, look online for the Yenko era and the Yenko era continued, Cannonsburg and beyond.
Good morning, guys. Let's go see Grandpa what he do in this car.
It's a team effort once again as the Camaro bounces back from the paint shop, around the wall, and back onto the lift. Now that the bottom is painted and the masking paper and tape can come off, the team can start bolting on parts. And when it comes to parts, brand new muscle car turns to Skog & Dickey Parts Center.
What's cooler than a Resto Mod or a 69 Camaro or a 70 Chevelle with a complete suspension under it that handles like a Corvette? The family-owned operation, Skog & Dickey, has been in business since 1929. On a daily basis, we ship to 17 different states and 2 foreign countries, so we've got customers using Chevrolet Performance products from Skog & Dickey all over the world. Our name became really known because back in the 60s, they were sending out mailers to everybody across the United States, and the magazine people from Hot Rod to CarCraft to Super Chevy, whoever became interested in coming here and seeing what was going on because it was just a magnet for Chevrolet Performance. My father went to work here in 1959. His mark in the business was in 1970 when he convinced one of the principal owners of the company that they should invest in a lot of GM parts because there was going to be a strike. And sure enough, there was. And he was one of the few guys in the country that had a lot of parts in stock at the time. And he established a stronghold of the GM parts business. You know, the things that they used kind of like to build a Yenko car back then.
So, as project manager of a build, my job is customers, money, and parts. Parts most importantly. No one else will do the job, so I do it. I actually kind of enjoy it, but it's hard. The parts come in 2 giant pallets taller than me, piles of big boxes. I dump them on the floor, I sort them out. Big stuff stays in their individual boxes. Medium-sized stuff, still in their little boxes. We used to keep these in just big piles, but we found out that wasn't the most efficient thing to do. Then what we started to do was sort the small stuff out, and I finally learned that there's about 15, 16, 17 bins that we need of small items. So all sorts of parts have to be sorted out by area so that when we're looking for something, seat belts, heat and air, you name it, we can come to a particular box and build the car in a timely fashion. It makes us much more efficient.
With the mounting brackets in place, it's time to mate the custom rear end to the chassis. While everyone on the brand new muscle car team knows their way around virtually every part of a car, they leave this one to the experts. This is a job for mechanics Richard and Omar.
Bring it down, Tony.
Bring it down, Tony.
Everything's going smoothly, just the way they drew it up. Until...
There's no lower mounts on the car.
Okay. These bodies don't come with a bucket, the leaf springs don't come with a bucket, and I ordered the body, I ordered the leaf springs, didn't order the bucket.
Are none.
You want me to go measure the original body?
Yeah.
Measure it, template it, get a piece of paper, trace it or something?
No, but he got like a brace. He got like he got a bracket in here. That's what I'm saying. He needs a bracket right here.
Yeah, let's go look at the original. Want to?
Yeah.
Just take 5 minutes. We have 3 shops and 3 buildings, 3 businesses. In this building, the entire building is dedicated to builds. So we've got a big collision shop, we've got a restoration shop, and What I find really interesting about the restoration side of the business is the variety. You name it, we get it. On the build side, it's much more Camaro, Mustang, and a few other things, but anything could come in the door, we're glad to do it, we're happy to have it. We've got Cutlass, we've got a Camaro, we've got a Mustang, we've got a T-Bird, we've got a Bronco, a Blazer, a truck, and that's what I love about it, is the variety, and the guys love that as well, gives them lots of different things to work on. Luckily, we have more Camaros, and they're close. Let's go look at the original.
And see.
What we're missing. It's a good thing we got these old cars, and we'd have to order the bracket, wait a week.
Yeah, but let's see if I can take it out those.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
if it is
won't
well,
matter on this car, so
yeah.
this car's going to be here for months. Hey guys, can we look at that Camaro real quick? Okay, yeah, give us just a second.
Just give me a second to see
We need
something.
to look at your front shock mount.
Okay, and you want me to raise it up a little bit?
Yeah, look, give me a second. No, that's fine. He bolted in right here in this piece.
Right.
So I don't have it here, so you need to order those. Okay. Or see if you got the old ones in here. So guys, you have those brackets in here, the used ones?
Yeah. Can we borrow them real quick? Yes. Martin!
Yeah, you found it?
When we come back, we'll give you a close-up look at one of the premier car museums and one of the biggest Yenko collections in all the world. And our team deals with a couple of hurdles.
Hey, whose idea was it to build whole new cars? Oh yeah, it was mine.
Proformance Unlimited is one of the leaders in the muscle car industry, building engines that will suit the needs of nearly every car enthusiast. Our dedication to detail separates us from the rest, and our crate engines are hand-assembled one at a time, using the finest parts and are dyno tested to ensure durability and power output. Trials and errors and expensive mistakes are now a thing of the past. Proformance Unlimited, your crate engine experts, building your dream and ours one engine at a time.
Classic Industries presents brand new muscle car Yenko Camaro is brought to you by Champion Cooling Systems, high performance aluminum radiators, Heat Shield Products, America's high performance insulation, Z-Max, the one product for your engine, transmission, and fuel system, and by Brand New Muscle Car, building yesterday's dream cars today.
250 plus cars spread over 123,000 square feet. A collection that's worth upwards of $40 million. For a car geek, this is heaven. And it all belongs to one man, the subject of our Yenko Collector Spotlight, super collector Mark Pylot.
The American Muscle Car Museum is located here in Melbourne, Florida. It's 100% solar powered. It's a beautiful facility, brand new, opened in October of 2016. Actually has a total of 289 vehicles today. The beauty of the collection is that the vehicles are all 100% original. Also, we have over 66 vehicles with less than 100 original miles. We have another 3 dozen vehicles between 100 and 1,000 original miles, and another 3 dozen vehicles between 1,000 and 10,000 original miles. If you look, I try to have like one of every generation Camaro, one of every generation Mustang, one of every generation of Shelby built. I have 26 Yenkos in total. Always have been a big fan of Don Yenko. And so I have one of every make and model of Don Yenko's vehicles that he's ever produced. I would say 2 of the vehicles that are pretty significant, a 1967 Yenko Camaro right behind me, and then also a 1969 Yenko Camaro, which is actually called Uno. Both of those were Don Yenko's personal vehicles. I have a one-of-one 1972 Vega Camback, which actually looks like a station wagon. One of only 50 ever produced, the only one known to exist. One-of-one Trans Am that he ever produced. And then the final year, 1981, I have the last Yenko Camaro ever built. So it's kind of fitting. I have the very beginning and the very end of the Camaro life in Don Yenko's time period. We host nonprofit charity events. To date, we've hosted 35 charity events, raised a little over $1.6 million for local charities. We never charge nothing to use the facility. All you have to do is go out and sell tickets.
After some debate, the team finally made a decision. Rather than taking the time to order new mounts, then waiting for them to arrive, they'd salvage the mounts from the vintage Camaro at the restoration shop. The mounts can be cleaned up to be just like new, but of course that means Dustin still has some work to do.
I need some brackets painted. I'm going to show you how I do these. Mason. Edge prime, hot rod black. That's the way I take care of little brackets that body in for kids to bring me.
No. You see what it means? Deadline?
Yeah.
Okay. You almost go.
If the deadline was here, I would have had those whenever I did the bottom.
Hey.
I'm just saying.
Hey.
But this is the way I handle them.
And then you're still talking in here. You're still talking in here. Why you not over there and paint
Because
this
I gave it to him. He said,
and then what are you waiting for?
The cool thing about Martin is we call him the diva. He's a pain. He's particular, and he drives us nuts. He's got to have just the right part and just the right fit and finish and just the right everything. He'll stop an entire build for the wrong nut.
Here you go. Hurry up. He's impatient. He needs them now. Martin needs them now. Needs them now. Hurry up.
Personality-wise, he's funny. If you ever get him rolling, I mean, some of the jokes I probably can't tell on television.
Ready?
Painter has saved the day once again, doing the job to make the body man look good.
Thank you. Took you long enough. Hey.
Hey, I don't need to hear that now to no mechanic. You got that thing running yet? All I know is Tony's my favorite.
Yeah.
You're not my favorite.
Come on, look at this. Look at these runs in here.
Hey, it's because
now.
It should have been with me yesterday.
Now I need to send the car to put it in weight. What is the more? I'm done. You don't got teeth. No way.
Next time on brand new muscle car Yenko Camaro. All the power in the world won't do you any good if you can't stop. So the guys add brakes and new suspension technology on the front to make this Yenko perform even better than the original.
Who needs instructions?
It's like I'm going into the old deep abyss.
Hello. Yeah, or it's you getting up off the ground.
Are you in there?
God, when I look, just turn this thing right now with him in it. If I didn't think he'd fall out the other side, I'd do it.